Hey everyone, it's Kelly Powers. So this is my Canvas lower extremity evaluation course page. First off, I chose Canvas because we use it in all of our classes, so I would like to become more familiar with using it, and I am helping to assist one of the current athletic training classes, so being familiar with Canvas will really help me, hopefully through this process, and then maybe on into my next job if they have a similar operating system, or at least I've seen something like this before. So as you can see, this is my homepage. I set it up with just kind of a little welcome to lower extremity with the pertinent information regarding me, my name, where my office is located, phone number, email. Obviously, those are all not real. Um, so just general, and then general learning tips that are just ways for the students to have other resources about their learning style or ways to learn. Again, on the homepage, like every other homepage, it has everything here on the left that you can click on and navigate through, and then it gives all my pages and announcements over here on the right. So the first thing we had to deal with was how to organize our content in the course. And Dr. Busman made a great suggestion about using modules. So going to my modules pages, I split them up into 4 different categories so far. Just my support resources, and then I organize them each by Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3. Obviously, I've only added things to Unit 1 as of right now. If this was a real course, there would be more things in Unit 2 and Unit 3 kind of when we get to cover it. So I really, really like how modules is set up. I was kind of confused before this class on how to use it, but now I think it's really easy and it kind of gives all the information you need on in one spot right where you need it. So it gives everything that I've uploaded so far to Unit 1, the home page, the documents here, then the scenario assignment that I gave, the quiz, my discussion along with the other 2 files. So following along, I'll probably just go in order. I'll start with my pages. And how I set up my pages is again just a general generic front page with my information, and then anything that's general to the course, nothing specific. And then to keep it uniform, I labeled everything again Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, either foot or toes, ankle, or knee. So my foot and toes page just gives a bunch of extra resources for the students that they would need throughout the semester. So I started with just a few video uploads, first being ankle palpations and range of motion. So this can give the students kind of a visual of what they need to be doing when they're palpating and what exactly the motion is that they're testing. Next, I looked up some articles about conditions of the foot, and about foot pain. These are a good way for the students to see what injuries occur in the foot, kind of get them familiar with some research in the evaluation setting. These can be anywhere from, assessment and treatment options to just a general case study of an injury that someone saw. Next, kind of just a more of a fun part, not necessarily educational, but pictures of just different injuries. This one is just like an ankle sprain, so you can point out, you'll be looking for some bruising, some swelling, so if you don't have an athlete that has that injury at the moment, you can pull up some pictures and the students can see what they would necessarily be looking for. And then my fourth one is any classmate contributions that I would add. So if I have a student email me saying I found this really cool article or video, I would put it under here and say, Jamie found such and such article at this website, be sure to check it out. So it kind of gives everyone an opportunity to contribute whatever they want and lets them do a little bit more research on their own. So next, I'll take you to my files page. So the files is where you can pretty much upload anything the student would ever need throughout the semester. So again, I separated it via foot, ankle, knee, hip. So under foot and toes, I have my discussion and chat information, the first assignment that they'll be looking for, a PDF version of it, and then my PowerPoint presentation with the PDF version. And then these two articles are for the discussion and chat activity that they will have, Taping and Bracing 1 and Taping and Bracing 2. So I like here that you can organize everything according to unit. So my students aren't looking for a knee PowerPoint presentation within all these other documents, everything involving foot, ankle, knee, hip. They can simply click on the knee folder and find whatever file they need in that particular section. So one of the first activities for this class we had to do was create an assignment. So going over to my assignment page, first, this is where we organized all of our assignments, discussions, quizzes, etc. into different categories and can weight them. So these are my 4 categories. I chose test, discussion, quizzes, and assignments. Assignments and discussion are worth together about 50% of your grade. So even if you bomb a test, you can't fail the class really, because you have so many discussions and assignments that will help even out your grade. I have 1 quiz, and then once the class got going and I was actually teaching it, I would put in actual tests under here. So my first assignment was a foot and toe assessment. So I uploaded the assignment that they had to do. They were given a Microsoft Word document that said, for this assignment, you will be given a scenario. Please list the palpations, range of motion, and testing that you would do and why you would do it. And additionally, give 3 initial injuries and then 1 final injury that you think it is. So I kind of give some space for them to do this. I give a very brief scenario of an athlete coming in, complaining of pain, and then they are supposed to list palpations, manual muscle testing, special tests, and then I gave them a couple helpful links again with maybe some ideas to help with palpations or range of motion testing. Then also I put in my rubric. A couple things were all or nothing, just that they did 3 initial injuries and a final guess. And then, being that it's the first assignment, pretty lenient. A couple categories, yes, some, or no. And then they would be graded accordingly. So after that, we had to create a quiz. So going over to my quizzes tab, I did a foot and toes quiz. I gave the students 90 minutes because I want to make sure they have plenty of time for people who aren't necessarily good test takers or who might have issues with a computer or something like that. So I made it a 1 attempt. They can see their answers at the end and their score. So I made it 11 multiple choice, true and false, etc., and 2 essay questions. So here's kind of an example of me when I took it, I guess. So couple multiple choice questions, true and false, fill in the blank, a pick 2 option type of question, a choose more than one, drop down menu, matching, marginal difference with numbers, and then these were my 2 essay questions. One was where you had to upload a file, and the other one was just a text box entry submission. This was a interesting process for me, a little harder than I thought it was going to be, with figuring out some of the questions. For example, the multiple fill in the blanks. It took me a really long time to figure out how to get it to work. I finally had to look it up and talk with some people, but eventually I figured it out. Now that I know how the quiz works, it went so much faster once I figured it out. So next was the discussion and the chat. So initially when I made this, I posted these both under discussions. So first was the actual discussion, where students had to read 2 articles that I posted in files about taping versus bracing. Then what they had to do is post their response about disadvantages and advantages and the effectiveness of both, comparing the articles, and then they had to respond to at least three of their classmates. This is good. I like the discussion boards because it really gets people having to read other classmates' posts and making them respond to people and start up some conversation. So, by my, I think, mistake, I posted the chat under a discussion somehow. So, I probably should have made more of like an assignment for it with an announcement along with it. So, when I go to chat, there's nothing there once it loads, which hopefully is here in a second. But then when I hit history, it took me to here, and I knew that I had posted about it on the 28th. So if I were having a real chat, I kind of opened up with, the chat room's now open for discussion. Here's what you need to answer. Be sure to be active in this participation, and that I'm not really looking at grammar, but please try to avoid things like LOL or BTW. So I just made it about an hour long session, and students can just come in and answer like they should. And then finally, we had to work with the grade book, which, again, once I figured out how to use it, I can't believe it took me so long. It's probably one of the easiest things ever. So I obviously have a test student, and then one of our fellow classmates is in here also as a test student. So we put in the notes section and then my different categories and how much they're weighted to give for the total possible points. So then, just for me to kind of see how it would go, I put in some fake grades for the test student to see kind of where their grade would be at. So, like I said, it took me a while to figure out how to actually work the grade book, but with the help of other students in our class, it was much easier once somebody explained it to me and I figured it out. I really, really like the weighting aspect of the grades because for someone like me who's not an extremely strong test taker, I get a little bit of test anxiety. If I do really well in the discussions and assignments, that can help even out my grade when maybe I don't do so well on a test. So going back to my home page, there are a couple things that we haven't exactly used yet in this class, but that I think that I like. I've used announcements a couple times. Just saying, for example, I've posted a few new pages with links to different websites. There's also a main page. Obviously, I made this on Valentine's Day. So I just like the announcements tab because it gives students reminders of what's going on and things that are coming up due, etc. I've also, in other classes, used the collaborations board. And if I was teaching this class for real, I would definitely utilize this a lot because I just learned how to use it last semester and I absolutely loved it. I love that you can collaborate with people on Google Docs, and I think it's a great tool that will not only help students in the classroom and in the class that they're taking specifically, but just in general in other classes, out in the business world or anything. So those are two pages that I would probably utilize if I was teaching this course, and I don't know, I haven't really looked that far into the syllabus about if we are going to utilize these in this class or not. But overall, I like Canvas so far. Working out some of the kinks and everything is definitely interesting. So I look forward to learning more about it in the next couple weeks that we have left in the semester. Hope you all enjoyed my page. Thanks.